My name is Rachel Montgomery, and I'm 33 years old. If you had asked me a week ago what my future looked like, I would have said something simple, something grounded. A cozy home, a stable partnership, maybe kids once the timing felt right. But everything changed that night. It wasn't a dramatic fight or a big, loud confrontation. It happened quietly, over dinner. Ethan and I had been together for nearly 2 years. We'd been living in my apartment for almost 8 months, and things felt good. Or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. Ethan had a stable job, we had routine date nights, and we even planned out our vacations months in advance. I thought everything was fine. But that evening, something shifted. I walked in after a long day at work, the scent of garlic and rosemary filling the air. Ethan was in the kitchen, stirring something in a pan. I kissed him on the cheek, expecting a normal, light-hearted greeting, but he barely looked up. "Hey," I said, setting my bag on the counter, my voice light, expecting him to match my energy. He just nodded. "Hey, Rachel, sit down, we need to talk." My stomach dropped. That serious tone was unlike him. We hadn't had any fights lately, so I wasn't sure what this was about. I sat down at the kitchen table, waiting for him to explain. Ethan turned off the stove, walked over, and sat down across from me. The silence between us felt heavy. "I've been thinking," he started, taking a deep breath, "about us, about where we're going." He hesitated. "And what I need." I could feel my heart rate quicken. "What are you talking about?" He looked at me, his expression unreadable. "I think we need to open up the relationship." I stared at him, my mind trying to process what he was saying. "Open up? You mean see other people?" "Yeah, kind of. I think we should still be together, but I need more freedom, more experiences. I don't want to wake up at 40 and wonder what I missed." I blinked, unsure if I had heard him right. "So, you want to date other people while still being with me?" He shrugged, his voice casual. "It's not like that. It's about personal growth. Lots of couples do it. It's called ethical non-monogamy." My heart dropped. "No, Ethan, that's not called ethical non-monogamy. That's called being single. And if that's what you want, we're done." His face tightened. "Rachel, it's not like that. I'm just being honest with you. I don't want to break up. I just need space to grow. A lot of people do this, and it works." "Space? You think you can just ask for space and then date other people while I stay home waiting? That's not how this works." His voice rose slightly, defensive. "You're being controlling. This is why I need more freedom. You're not letting me grow." I was shaking my head, my thoughts racing. "This isn't about freedom. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You want to keep me as your backup while you explore other options. And I'm not doing that. If you need to explore, go ahead. But not here, not with me." His face faltered, and I saw a flash of regret in his eyes. But it was too late for that. His emotional manipulation didn't work anymore. I had already drawn the line. "Rachel, please," he said, his voice softer now. "Can we just talk about this?" "We are talking," I said, my voice steady, firm. "And if you want to see other people, then you can do that, but you won't be coming back here." Ethan's face fell, and he stood up. "You're just going to throw all of this away?" "Yes, I am, because this is what it comes down to. You want freedom, and I'm giving it to you, permanently." He didn't say anything. Instead, he turned and walked toward the bedroom. I heard him quietly picking up his things. "Pack your stuff tonight," I said. "You can crash with whoever you want, but you're not staying here." I sat there, in the kitchen, numb. The room felt too small, the air thick with unspoken words. I had just broken my heart, and I knew it. But I also knew that this was the only way I could protect myself from what Ethan was trying to do. A few minutes later, he came back into the kitchen, holding an overnight bag. "I'll talk to you tomorrow when you've calmed down," he said, his voice quiet but cold. "No," I replied, standing up. "You'll have your stuff packed by tomorrow afternoon, and we're done." He left, slamming his door behind him. I sat back down at the table, my mind still spinning. My phone buzzed. Messages from friends, family, the usual stuff. But one message caught my attention. Ethan's colleague, Katie, had texted me a few days ago, asking to get coffee. I'd deflected it back then, not wanting to even entertain the idea. But now, as I stared at my phone, the world outside my apartment seemed so much more open. Without thinking too much, I typed a quick message to Katie. "Hey, if that coffee offer is still open, I'm free this weekend." She replied within minutes, "Absolutely. Saturday?" "Perfect," I texted back, then put the phone down, a strange sense of relief washing over me. I wasn't sure what would happen next, but I knew one thing. I was done being someone's backup plan. The next morning, sunlight leaked through the blinds, thin and cold. I hadn't slept much. Every time I closed my eyes, Ethan's voice echoed in my mind. I need more freedom. We should see other people while still being together. The more I replayed it, the clearer everything became. He wasn't confused. He wasn't lost. He wasn't growing. He'd simply found someone else and wanted permission. By noon, I'd stopped shaking. By 2 p.m., I was angry enough to act. I pulled out cardboard boxes from the hallway closet, the same ones we'd used when he moved in. Funny how everything comes full circle. I stacked them in the living room, opened the bedroom door, and got to work. His clothes, his shoes, his endless collection of gym supplements, the cologne bottle he pretended he didn't only wear on days he stayed late at work. I packed it all, quietly, methodically, no theatrics, no tears. My decisions were clean, my boundaries unmoving. Halfway through folding one of his sweaters, something slipped from the pocket, his phone charger, and behind it, a crumpled receipt. Dinner for 2, a week ago. A restaurant he'd never taken me to. I stared at the receipt for a long moment. My throat tightened, but I didn't let myself unravel. You wanted freedom. Fine, you get the full version. I placed his last sweater in the box and taped it shut. When the final box was stacked on the porch, I stepped back and stared at the neat little pile that represented the end of a relationship I once thought would last forever. It didn't feel triumphant. It felt quiet, like the stillness after a storm, where you're not sure yet if the worst is over. My phone buzzed. Ethan, can we talk before I come by? I typed back immediately. Me, nothing to talk about. Your stuff is ready. His response came fast. Ethan, you're seriously doing this? Me, you wanted freedom. Enjoy it. I put my phone down. 5 minutes later, it buzzed again, this time with a notification I didn't expect. Instagram, Katie liked your story. I opened the app. Katie, Ethan's colleague, who'd always been friendly, warm, respectful, had reacted to the picture I'd posted earlier of my coffee mug and laptop. Just a normal morning photo. But then my inbox lit up. Katie, hope your day's going okay. I stared at her message, wondering if she knew. Wondering how much Ethan had told people, or how much she'd already guessed. Before I could respond, a car pulled up. I looked outside. Ethan was standing on my porch with his best friend, Sam. Perfect. Reinforcements. I stepped outside. Sam's voice was instantly sharp. Are you kidding me with this? You're throwing him out? I didn't even look at him. Everything's on the porch, Ethan. Take it and go. Ethan's eyes were red like he'd been crying. Rachel, please, let's talk inside. No. His voice cracked. I made a mistake, okay? I don't want to see other people. I was scared of commitment, that's all. I shook my head slowly. No, Ethan, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice, and I made one too. Sam scoffed. You're acting insane. I turned toward him, calm as stone. This isn't about you. Back off. Ethan swallowed hard. Rachel, please. I don't want to lose you. You already did. There was silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Sam finally started loading the boxes into the car. Ethan just stood there, watching me like he didn't recognize the woman in front of him. Maybe he didn't. Maybe the woman he thought he had wrapped around his finger didn't exist anymore. Before he left, he tried one more time. I love you. I didn't flinch. No, you love the version of me who tolerated your excuses. She's gone. He left without another word. That evening, my apartment felt eerily quiet. No keys jangling in the door, no gym bag tossed on the couch, no Ethan pacing during phone calls about work stress that weren't actually about work. I sat on the couch with a cup of tea, my phone buzzed. Katie, still up for coffee this weekend? I felt something shift, something small but important. Me, yes, Saturday works. Saturday came fast. I arrived at the cafe early, not even sure why I felt nervous. Maybe because for the first time in a long time, I was doing something just for myself. Katie walked in a few minutes later, smiling, waving shyly when she saw me. Rachel, hi. Hey, I said, returning the smile. She looked effortlessly put together, simple jeans, a white blouse, hair tied back loosely. Not flashy, not trying to impress, just real. We sat down. I hope this isn't weird, she said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I just always thought you were really cool. And I know you and Ethan broke up, and I wanted to make sure you were okay. I blinked. How did you know? She hesitated. People at work talk, and Ethan's been different lately. Distracted. That word hit harder than I expected. Distracted, I repeated quietly. Yeah, Katie sighed. Honestly, I always wondered if you were happy with him. He didn't seem present. I swallowed. That was painfully accurate. 3 hours passed without us noticing, coffee turning to laughter, turning into stories we'd never told anyone else. When we finally stood to leave, Katie touched my arm lightly. Want to do this again sometime? Something in my chest softened. Definitely. On my drive home, my phone buzzed again. Ethan, we need to talk. I'm coming over. I stared at the message, the irony almost laughable. He made his choice. So did I. And now he would finally learn that freedom has consequences. A week passed and everything felt different. Lighter, somehow. The weight of Ethan's absence was noticeable at first, but not in the way I had expected. I thought I'd miss the comfort of his routine, the dinner conversations, the way he'd always grab my hand when we walked down the street. But none of that came. Instead, I felt space, and that was exactly what I needed. I was out with Katie one evening, her hand casually resting on my arm as we strolled through the city, and I realized for the first time that I had no emotional baggage weighing me down. I was just present, just me, and for the first time in months, I could breathe. Then Ethan showed up. I was driving back from dinner when I noticed his car parked outside my building. My stomach knotted as soon as I saw it. I knew he'd been trying to reach me all week, but I had avoided his calls, his texts. I wasn't interested in hearing him grovel. I parked next to his car and took a deep breath. He had his chance. He blew it. I walked into the lobby, hoping to avoid him. But of course, he was there, waiting for me by the elevator. "Rachel!" he called out, his voice a mix of desperation and anger. I didn't turn around. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. "Rachel, please," he continued, walking up to me. "I've been trying to talk to you. I made a mistake." I pressed the elevator button and waited for the doors to open. "You made a mistake," I repeated, my voice colder than I expected. "No, Ethan, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice, and so did I." He tried to block the elevator doors as they opened, his hand reaching out to stop me. "I never meant to hurt you. I was just scared of commitment, okay? You have to believe me." I stepped back, finally looking at him. There was something hollow in his eyes, something I hadn't seen in a long time, and that was when I knew. This wasn't about me anymore. It was about him, his fear, his regrets, and I wasn't carrying that for him. "You don't get it, do you?" I said softly. "You didn't just hurt me, Ethan. You tried to control me. You wanted to keep me on the back burner while you explored." He opened his mouth to argue, but I raised my hand, silencing him. "You made your choice," I said again, "and now I'm making mine." The elevator doors closed behind me, and I pressed the button for my floor. I could feel his eyes on me even as the doors slid shut. But I wasn't looking back. Later that evening, as I sat in my apartment with a glass of wine, my phone buzzed again. I wasn't surprised to see his name. "Ethan, you're really doing this? You're really with her?" I sighed, rubbing my temples. This wasn't going to stop until he understood. But I wasn't going to let him pull me back in. I typed back quickly, keeping it simple. "Me. Yes, I'm really doing this. And yes, I'm with Katie. Because she respects me. Something you never did." I hit send, then put my phone face down on the counter. The buzzing didn't stop for the next few minutes. I heard the familiar ping of incoming texts. I knew what he was doing, sending a dozen more desperate messages. I ignored them. Instead, I called Katie, letting her know what had happened. "You okay?" she asked when I picked up. "I'm fine," I said, my voice more steady than it had been in weeks. "I'm just finally letting go." Katie didn't say anything for a beat, then smiled softly. "Good for you." It didn't take long for Ethan to escalate. He started showing up at places I frequented, cornering me in the grocery store, standing outside my apartment building. His friends, his family. Every time I saw them, they asked the same thing. "Why are you being so harsh? Don't you care about what you two had? You should give him another chance. He's just hurting." But none of that moved me. The more I saw of Ethan's antics, the clearer it became. He wasn't trying to get me back because he loved me. He wanted control. He wanted to win. But I wasn't a game. One night, I got a call from Katie while I was at work. "She's here," Katie said, breathless. "Your ex. She's in the lobby, screaming at security." I froze. "What's she doing?" "She's trying to get up to your apartment. She's talking about how you've moved on too fast and how you owe her closure." I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "I've got this," I said, hanging up and grabbing my coat. I wasn't about to let Ethan's ex drag me back into this mess. When I arrived, I saw her standing outside the building, tears streaking down her face. I walked past her without a word, straight into the lobby. Security was already talking to her. You're going to have to leave, the security guard told her, but she refused to move. Rachel, she shouted. I just want to talk to you, please. I walked up to her calmly, my voice level. There's nothing to talk about. She tried to step closer, but the guard stopped her. You need to leave, or we're calling the police. I looked at her one last time. You made your choice too, and now you have to live with it. Her eyes flashed with something dark. You think you've won, don't you? No, I said quietly. I think I've finally stopped losing. A few days later, I filed for a restraining order against Ethan, and against his ex, too. It was time to cut the final tie. The day in court was surreal. The judge didn't hesitate. Miss Montgomery, you have provided ample evidence of harassment and stalking. A 1-year restraining order will be issued immediately. No contact, directly or through third parties. Ethan's ex cried. Ethan stared at the floor, his face pale and regretful. I didn't feel sorry for him. Later, as I walked out of the courthouse with Katie, I felt a sense of closure settle over me. The legal stuff, the drama, the chaos. It was over. Are you okay? Katie asked, her hand gently brushing mine. I am, I said with a smile. I'm better than okay. In the weeks that followed, Ethan and his ex tried to make more attempts to get back into my life, through calls, through texts, through mutual friends. But each time I grew stronger. The boundaries I had set were the ones that protected me from the chaos they tried to drag me into. I moved forward, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like I was truly living. My relationship with Katie blossomed. It was simple. It was honest. There were no games, no manipulation, just two people who respected each other, who shared mutual love and trust. The weight of the past no longer held me down. I had cut the strings, and now, finally, I was free. A few months later, Katie and I moved in together. This time, it was a real commitment. Not just a promise to stay in the same space, but a promise to build a future together. A future built on respect, not manipulation. As for Ethan, well, I wished him well. But I had learned one thing through this all. I wasn't going to be anyone's safety net, and no one would ever make me feel like a backup plan again.